all of your data and you don't want the group becoming inundated with stuff that's not relevant. But we do feel it's important to have completely open and honest, constant communication with you. Andre started recording
close camera.
Sorry? Andre started recording.
I was saying Sabelo should close the camera.
Okay, Sabelo, you can close your camera for now. That'll be great. Andre has started, thank you. Andre started recording this session. We've got you'll see it's at the top of our screen. The reason we record it is the techies always ask us afterwards if it can be shared with them, and we post this on our YouTube. So that we have our Twitter account, we have our Facebook account, we have our LinkedIn account, and we've got our YouTube. So we really encourage you to interact with us on social media as well. But in terms of, we're just going to pass on, I'm hesitating for 1 second. I just want to give a very warm welcome to Mike Barker, who's just joined us. And Andre will introduce him formally, but Mike is going to be our New Year's guest speaker because we thought we really need some good news to kick the new year off with. So thanks, Mike, for joining us. Truly, truly great. But guys, as I said, communication is vital to us. We know that communication is not always what we want to hear. Sometimes it's bad news. Sometimes it's not the news we want to hear. But we would rather say it as it is and be completely open and transparent with you. This is the strength of MyTechie. We are truly a team. And this is the opportunity where we can debate the good, the bad, the ugly, and try and find out where the backlogs are, what's happening. So at this point, I don't want to talk too much. I want to hand over to Andre to give us an overview of where we have been and where we are and where we're going. So, Andre, over to you.
Thank you, Sharon, and welcome to everybody. Good to have you guys together. This year has gone very quickly for me, even although we've had pandemics and other things to slow us down. I'm going to share a screen just to take you through some notes. I'd like to share some notes with you. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes, we do.
We can.
Okay, excellent.
Yes, we can.
I don't want to take up too much time because we've got Checkmore going to join us and tell us a bit about some practical stuff in the field. So challenges, yeah, we've had quite a few. Everyone knows this year has been, besides the pandemic, which has rolled on from last year, we've had load shedding to deal with, water shedding to deal with, different variants of COVID to deal with, lockdowns, and probably one of the biggest things that affected us this year was the global shortage of semiconductors, which is still hampering things. I've been talking to some of my colleagues in the industry. It doesn't just affect air fiber, it affects all electronic equipment that has any kind of semiconductor in it. So it's hurting badly. But nevertheless, we've managed to succeed in surviving. If survival can be considered a success, it probably is. We've grown to over 1,000 technicians, and also more than 200 small companies have signed on with us to help them get work around the country. Some of them are starting to stretch their legs a bit, and we are getting a little bit of trickling work in. We've had training from a couple of companies, just like to mention and give appreciation to Triple Play, who have helped us a couple of times with the training deserving candidates on optical fiber. QCon have been very good with assisting us with training on the VSAT and the 2B product. And in fact, Checkmore's done quite a bit of work for them in the Northern Cape, and he's going to be doing some work for them, I think, later this week as well. We'll talk about that. Polokwane, we're doing some work there at the moment. There's a fiber to the home project happening in Polokwane. In Cape Town, we're busy with quite a nice land project in one of the offices there, quite a big land project that's being built, including access to the internet. Knysna, we're looking at building for LaserNet, fiber to the home, assisting them with fiber drops in the Southern Cape. In Telecor, we do get quite a bit of work from them, usually things like boom gates, turnstiles, printers, all kinds of tech that's in offices, and we're grateful for them for that. Some of our customers I'd like to acknowledge, like MPU Communications, we're doing that work in Cape Town for them. Nifracom is a new business associate of ours, and we're working closely with them, especially on the supersonic project, and I'll tell you how they're getting involved in that. We've entered into a nice consortium agreement with Altron Nexus, and Altron Nexus is a subsidiary of the Altron Group. They've been going since the 1950s. It's a well-known South African brand which has evolved over the years and is now a level 1 BE company. We're in a consortium agreement with Altron, with a very good chance of winning some business from MTN this year. Hopefully before the end of this year, and it'll probably only start, but next year. We're hopeful. It seems quite positive. MTN, well, the supersonic component of it, we have been dancing with them, as you all know, with the supersonic air fiber. The issue with that has been the semiconductor crisis. So they tell us that work is coming in or going to start. They were going to relaunch in October, then they were going to relaunch in November, and they still haven't relaunched. You'll notice on the website there's no pricing, there's nothing really there. So they only gave us an agreement to sign this week after all this time. So they're waiting now, and they've given the same agreement to all the contractors. That I think there's 3 contractors or 4 contractors that they use, of which MyTechie is one. And the agreement itself is quite onerous. You know what these big MTN type companies are. It's 53 pages long, 17,000 different clauses that have to be checked, and so that'll be my homework for tomorrow, to go through that agreement. And just for your interest and your knowledge, yeah, when we started this rollout, it had a slightly different flavor to it. And Supersonic have changed the goalposts a little bit, and they've introduced a requirement for us to have a significant amount of insurance, contractors insurance, public liability insurance. They've required us to pick up logistics and warehousing costing. So that has made a big difference to our business case. And that's where we introduce Nifracom and possibly Altron Nexus in the future. They're going to assist us with the logistics and warehousing side of things, as well as the contractors' insurances. There's obviously contractors' insurances and liabilities that you guys, some of you have with your own companies, and that's fine. But there's other additional stuff that MTN want. Telkom, we are in a RFP bid process with them also, but we're expecting some answers on that in the new year, and the same with Dark Fiber Africa. So we're working hard to knock on the doors of all the major telco players. You'll see some of the pictures there. We work with the South African Institute of Electrical Engineers, the IT Institute Professional IT Professionals. We're quite closely aligned with the Digital Council Africa, and various other learning and tertiary institutions as well. That's just a few of them. The platform business that we're all involved in, technician as a service, you've heard of software as a service and infrastructure as a service. We're part of that now in the sense that we're technician as a service, engineer as a service, plumber as a service. And this has become quite attractive in the time of the pandemic, when people have realized that actually we can have dispatchable capacity available without having to come into an office. And this is starting to get a lot of interest from different quarters, and I'm expecting next year to get a lot more traction in terms of the impact that we can have as a business. Just so that you're aware, those are the kind of roughly what we do. We understand and have looked at thousands of CVs. We've got like I said, over 1,000 technicians, and about 500 of them have already been sort of onboarded. And each of you have got a set of skills. You could say each of you've probably got 10 or 20 different skills or certifications that you have. And that gets matched in the system with what the market might need in and around where you are, in the proximity of where you are, and the proximity of all of our technicians spreads across all 9 provinces. Obviously, it's a little bit thinner in places like the Northern Cape and rural areas, but we have quite a nice spread, and and the nice thing about it is many of you are prepared to move where the opportunities are. So we're making these connections and then creating this opportunity. Obviously, the intention here is to empower and develop and create. Jobs are not easy to get. Those of you that have been unemployed, like myself, if you like, for the last 3.5 years, it's not easy to get jobs. So, but you never lose your skill. Your skill goes with you. So the analogy I sometimes like to use, although I'm not a smoker myself, if you wanted to buy, if you were a smoker, you could go to a macro and buy a carton of cigarettes, or even a box of cartons of cigarettes. You can buy them like that. Or if you want, you can go to a convenience store and you can buy a packet of cigarettes. Or if you want just one cigarette, you go to any traffic light in South Africa and you could probably buy one cigarette. So the intention here is to just break things down into smaller components and then build them up again. And that's what we're doing. Electricians are becoming fiber technicians and becoming IoT technicians and then becoming router and satellite technicians and then network engineers. So there's a roadmap that we can take you on and give you the opportunity to earn in that way. Be part of many villages around South Africa. Another analogy I like to use, just so that you've got the picture, is it's like an oil refinery. You come into the MyTechie with whatever CV you have, whatever experience you have, and you go in, you get an assessment. There's about 21 or 22 different things that we start to look at, validating what you can do, and what you say you can do, then what you actually can do, and then you can apply your trade in this refinery that we have, and you could end up, because we take interns as well, people that have just got very basic skills and maybe a little certification, and we try to pair them up with qualified people to give them an opportunity to learn, and then we incentivize the main lead technician by not taking a full 15% clip. We actually reduce it by 3%, so that helps them to cover the cost of that intern. And then you can get more and more practical experience all the way through until you become a specialist. And at any point you could pop out of that and get a job, because it would be very easy for you to go to a Vodacom or an MTN or a Telkom and say, look, here's my CV, but here's a report of all the splices I've done. This is a report of all the networks I've configured. This is a report of, and it's actual stuff. You can't fudge it. It's what you've actually done on the app. It's recorded like an air pilot will record how many air miles they've got. And then you could decide, no, you don't want to get a job. You want to stay as a tech-tropreneur, build your own business, just become like the village doctor, the village vet, work in your community, in your your suburb, township, rural area, and you'll find it's quite a useful thing to be, and you can be quite proud of it. There are lots of boxes that we need to tick, and people forget about some of these things. It's not that easy to be an entrepreneur. There's lots of things you have to succeed. Skills and certifications is one thing, and a lot of guys have got some of those, but then you're also expected to have the PPE, the personal protective equipment, and your tools. Obviously, keep the tools sharp, keep them clean, keep them serviceable. Your vehicle. I've had technicians phone me and say, look, I can do the job, but I need petrol money. It's unfortunate, but you've got to have a bit of money to get started and to get to your first job. You need a laptop, you need a smartphone with data and airtime. You're going to need your consumables. You're going to need working capital. I had a technician today engaging with me over WhatsApp saying, but when am I going to get paid? I did the job 15, 20 days ago. We have to wait for companies to pay, and you can't expect to be paid up front. This is the reality of it. Obviously, when it comes to consumers, we'll do it slightly differently. Then, of course, we've got this vaccine thing going, and I know it's a controversial thing, but I thought I would just mention it. From our point of view, as MyTechie, we're not going to insist on anyone getting a vaccine, but some of our customers, unfortunately, might, and some of them already have. Said that they don't want any contractors or people working on their properties or sites unless they have a vaccine certificate. There's my vaccine certificate there. Don't be afraid to take it and get it done. We would encourage you to do that. We think it's the right thing to do. And then those technicians that are eligible for that kind of work will get it. But those people that aren't eligible, obviously, we won't give you work if the client doesn't want the vaccine. And that's really it as far as I wanted to say about what MyTechie is about and where we're going. But some of the new stuff that's coming through, I don't know if it's on the next slide. Yeah, those are some of the things we do. People don't realize that we actually do sales drives. We actually do sales for commission for companies. We do surveys, we do installations, wireless, fixed fiber routers, inside and outside plant. We even do power work. There's a renewable energy work happening, generators. We provide a lot of field support. We can do network audits, and then there's a whole pile of professional services that we can do. We spread, quite nicely across the country, obviously very heavily in the metros and Gauteng in particular. Next year, we've got quite a few things lined up. We are expecting Supersonic to start kicking in. They say they're going to start this month, but who knows? We have a meeting with them every week. They're waiting for the signing of this master services agreement, which is we only received yesterday and are going through it. It seems to be fine so far. Then there's quite a massive smart energy project we're going to be involved in next year, which will require electricians and router technicians to work together. And if some of these, even if just one of these many tenders and RFPs that we are involved in will come through, then we can expect a huge amount of work opportunity that's going to come our way. Let me put my camera on now that you can finish the presentation side of it. I just want to see if there's anything else that I wanted to mention here. I'm going to send out a newsletter, just sort of an annual newsletter summarizing what we've discussed here and what we've discussed over the year, because we've done quite a few different things. And we've had different guest speakers, and we've got more of them lined up. And some exciting things we believe that are going to be coming through in the new year. So I know it's been frustrating. It's been frustrating for all of us. Definitely could have had more work, but I'm definitely seeing the green shoots of opportunity. This pandemic is winding its way down. I know there's a wave, or the fourth wave, and there'll be probably a fifth and a sixth wave, but each one tends to be weaker and weaker. And if more and more people get vaccinated, this thing will run out of steam. And it's probably going to be something we have to live with globally for a long time to come. There's always been flu and all these kinds of things. And we have personally lost close friends this year, which is not easy to have to deal with. But it's what can we do? That's what's happening. And I'm sure some of you have as well. So I want to take this opportunity before I completely sign off just to thank all of you for your patience. We've got an opportunity now to hear from one of our leading technicians, Chekmo Kaguda. He lives currently in the Northern Cape in a metropolis called Katu. And he is employed. He's employed by one of the mines there, but he hustles on the side like all of us to do a bit of work. He's a good technician, and he's been doing some VSAT work, which he'll tell you about. And when it comes to tools, for example, the VSAT work requires a SAT meter, and that's a tool that costs about 2,500 rand. And one thing getting the training, it's another thing getting the tools. But your tools are very important to you. They are your money makers, so look after them. Okay,
Andre,
that's me.
Andre, thank you very, very much. I just want to, before we formally hand over to Chekmo, I just want to reiterate one or two of the points that you made. Just to reiterate what Andre said, we as the team, Burbick, Andre, Janine, Riet, meet with the Supersonic team every Wednesday at 10 o'clock. We pass on what we are told by them. And Andre is quite right. At the beginning of September, they were very excited. They said finally the equipment was coming in, and They were aiming for a launch mid-October. It was going to be a national launch. It was going to be a rollout. They were going to, in fact, be the October's guest speaker at MyTechie. It's why we actually pushed the October one out somewhat, because we were waiting for them to share the good news directly. We, like you, we watch the website. We watch to see when they're uploading their pricing and their packaging. Towards the end of October came, then they started wanting to renegotiate different contract terms. I'm not sure if technicians are aware, but Andre is quite correct when he says he has not worked for 3 years. He hasn't. He has funded this out of his own pocket up until now, so much so that the warehousing that he pays for the supersonic equipment gets paid out of his personal bank account. Supersonic intimated that we'd be getting more stock. He's been to Ultron Nexus. He's looked at additional warehousing. He will be looking at hiring bigger warehousing. So this, when we understand your frustrations, but you must also understand Andre's frustration at only being able to communicate what he's told. Then we told that the launch is going to be November. Then we told that there's not as much equipment as originally promised. So please, we ask, we have never ever shied away from what we are told. So it's very important that we reiterate that. I had a long conversation, as did Andre, with Chucky, and Chucky is reiterating the frustration, saying in the community he has literally hundreds of people who he has promised air fiber to, who phone him and message him, and when he drives past, say, hey Chucky, what's happening? Where's the air fiber? I live in Umtulumi. I promised 6 months ago my village. I've got my village screaming and yelling at me saying, what else? So I think, guys, patience is it. When the ship comes in, there's going to be so much work for all of us. We were all hoping it would be now and we would be in the middle. But please don't lose faith and hope. It is coming. And over and above that, Andre skimmed through. He didn't give you the hours of meetings and tenders that he sits literally 168 pages, hustling to get large contracts via MTN through other options, Telkom, to try and constantly, he wakes up thinking about how he can get work, and he'll touch on Mike at the end of the meeting, how he can get work and how he can continue to. So Andre, really on behalf of the technicians, it's an enormous thank you to you, who has sacrificed giving up a lucrative career where you were getting a healthy salary for your vision of ensuring like MyTechies can become techtrepreneurs. So really a big thank you. But now over to Checkmore. Checkmore has been absolutely amazing. As Andre said, living in the great, big, thriving city of Katu, but we joke it's very small, was really a knight in shining armor for QCon, whose client was the International Electoral Commission, the ISC. We touched on it last Techie Team Talk, and it was so interesting. We wanted Checkmore to give more details, but it also, Checkmore is also going to explain that fundamental issues happen with the client, so much so that the client gave the wrong town, the wrong address in the wrong town. Checkmore traveled 124 kilometers only to find there'd been an error made. Guys, I'm going to ask that you please mute. So Checkmore, we really want to thank you for really being one of our people who kept a cool and calm head, flew the flag high for MyTechie, and as such so has resulted in repeat work from QCon for your area. So over to you.
Thank you very much. I hope everybody is hearing me.
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. I would like to thank Andre and the team, Sharon and Janine, for the real support that we are getting through. And just a word for everybody that if you join an organization like MyTech, for example, you become part of the wheel to turn to have that organization move. So it's your integrity that you carry on with the organization, the patience that you have, and the contribution that you do. And the contribution has to be out of your heart. Sometimes you have to go out of your way. An organization that is just taking off, and you can't expect smooth things. But however, I would like to, I haven't written anything down, but I can only recall what happens from the start when we started doing these VSAT installations. Our customer is QCon, and hello, we have a visitor from the sky. Okay. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Sorry.
Yes, we can hear you, Mr.
We can
Chipmore.
hear you.
Okay.
Continue.
Our customer, I can say it was a test of what MyTechie can do, and fortunately enough, we did it to the best of our ability, and it came out positive. Our customer was QCon. The first thing that happens with this QCon as a customer, QCon was seeing MyTechie in me. And the customers were seeing QCon in me. That means I was representing two customers, and of which if I had lost confidence in any direction, either in the QCon side, on the customer side, of MyTechie side, I would have messed up MyTechie reputation. So yeah, you meet a lot of things. I met a lot of things during installations of the VSAT, especially during the first one of for the just ended elections. At first, they gave us a customer's address, which was 140, almost close to 140 kilometers off mark. So we had to travel almost 240 kilometers to and fro to a wrong address. But however, the customer apologized, and we come to the customer understood, and we all come to an agreement. And we didn't take it that we be at odds with the customer. So we showed them what MyTechie is for, and we continued that way. They came again this time to give us a second customer. This time it was a corporate customer, which was very, very crucial. This is very crucial now. If I had to mess up this, and if we are to mess up this, MyTechie wasn't going to have a good name. Or QCon, to make matters worse, is when I approached the customers, they were seeing QCon. They didn't see MyTechie. They were seeing QCon. So I was representing QCon to have them be successful, be seen as a positive supplier to their customer. In turn, QCon was seeing MyTechie in me, such that they were so grateful and so wonderful with what we were doing. As you can see on the pictures, this was for the IEC. Now, on the side of the second installations, now there is a customer which we were going to work for, which was a corporate customer. This time, a lot of requirements were to be put in place. Firstly, we were facing a high security customer, which is FNB Bank, which is not easy to approach. We had to go through a lot of things, but at the same time, you can expect anything. Those customers, sometimes they are also tenants to somebody's building. And it happens that in Katu itself, FNB is within the mall. So FNB vetted us and gave us a go-ahead, but we hit a wall because the owners of the building wanted more vetting, and they wanted to know who we are and what we stand for, what are the documents. They wanted a lot of documentation. So this is some of the things that you meet in corporate customers. It's different now from working into community customers. So you have to be very, very careful. Here, you need to read your own Riot Act, which we have anyway. ID Telecoms read the Riot Act to us before. What is required when you are approaching a customer? What is required when you during installations? What do you do and to convince a customer who is doubtful of what is going to happen? So yeah, we went through all these things, and I'm grateful for Andre and Sharon and Janine. We solved these issues quite quick and within the time. But however, as a technician, I was going through already installed. This was migration for F&B. So we were going through already installed equipment. But now as a technician, you would come across where installation is not really up to standard. And now it's not you who install it. You are not happy about it. And you're gonna work on it. That means the customer will see you as the last person who worked on it. Whatever goes wrong, the customer will say, this was the person who last worked on it. So this is some of the things you meet. So you need to document things. You use the app. That's when the app works. You use the app. This is what I found. This is what may go wrong. This is how it can be solved. But this is what we're doing this time. I can give, for example, in Uppington, the real installation in Uppington is a mess. I don't know whether Janine still have the pictures, but it was a mess. And I had to go down to speak to the branch manager. Look, the system is not installed properly, but however, we're gonna do what we're supposed to do. And if it works, it will be working well, but we cannot guarantee that it will go for this. And all this, I was online with QCon to tell them, guys, this is the system. I send pictures, and for sure, they got exactly what I've told them. When we started to migrate the system, the whole network went down. It never came back. Now, because I've told them what was the problem with their installation, and I told them the possibilities of those things. Yes, that was the Uppington thing, and yeah, and it happens that the budgeted 2 hours, we went over them because of a bad installation. So in time to correct the installation, we take longer than that. And QCon were in touch. We were in touch with QCon every time, and until we solved the issue. But I told them we have only done what is supposed to be done so that the thing can work now. But in future, you need to do this 1, 2, 3, and also to do that. So if I was somebody who works in the community, I would say, I'll do this for you, then I'll just do it. But this is a corporate customer, and you do what you come to do, and you do that. And whatever has to be done, it will be noted down. Now, I was showing QCon what really should be done and what MyTechie can do in future. That means I'm also trying to keep QCon in our palms so that they will say, oh, okay, this is a very good organization, then they can keep us. So we balance the things, that how it goes. Then comes to the Northern Cape. The Northern Cape is so spaced. I can give you an example of this F&B issue. One has to travel from Pretoria to Polokwane, from Polokwane, Rustenburg, then Rustenburg, you go back to Middelburg. That's how it was. But still, you have to keep your time and keep the customer updated. Because the last customer, we only did that customer around after 6 o'clock p.m. And the customer had already closed from 3. But because we were now trustworthy, F&B was trusting us. I was starting to get calls straight from FNB head office to assist me to say, if you need to do that, you meet this thing, tell us, we will help you. Now, it's no longer QCon which was now helping me. It was the customer himself, because they've already had our reputation, how we have done things, and where we've come from. And as I reached all those branches, they already called me with my name because they had all the information, and we did our work very well. That's the thing. But the VSAT installation is quite well. It's going well, and now QCon has got more faith in MyTechie. They are still giving us jobs. And an hour ago, I was speaking to Jonathan from QCon. He called me. I was going through vetting and everything and what's going to be happening tomorrow and all those things. So we have also some branches to be, but this time is also high security customer, which is G4S, the coin processing company. So this is how much faith QCon has put into MyTechie, not me, but into MyTechie, because I have done something. I'm coming from MyTechie. They are looking at MyTechie, and their customer, they are looking at the QCon through me. So yeah, that's what I can say in what I've gone through, what I think has gone well with our installations. I don't know if there's anybody with a question or suggestion or whatever, but the only thing I can say, it helped me quite a lot by reading the Riot Act to myself and getting to know the customers first. I see a hand up there.
Landwa, please ask your, first of all, Checkmore, thank you so much. Thank you for giving us your experience. Thank you for explaining how important client satisfaction is. And on a note from the MyTechie management team, we just want to say the constant communication we got from Checkmore was unbelievable. We knew minutes by minutes, 15 minute by 15 minutes, 30 minute by 30 minutes, so much so to the point we were saying, stop messaging us, you are driving, keep your eye on the road, your safety comes first. So communication through this was critical. But Luanda, you've got your hand up. Please ask Checkmore your question.
Thank you very much, Sharon.
Pleasure.
Good evening to everybody. Checkmore, thank you very much for that testimonial. Indeed, it does give us, those of us who have not gotten an opportunity to get jobs, some real hope. Just a quick one for me, Checkmore. I'm just interested to know, were these your first satellite installations, work that you were doing, or you've done them before? And then I have another two questions, Sharon, maybe for you and Andre.
Sure, ask her.
Yeah, the first one is about the certificate from Supersonic. What are they saying about those certificates for the training that we've attended? And then the last one is about the terms of reference, or rather terms of the letter that was sent on the 26th of March. Should the project of Supersonic kickstart, are those terms still going to be in place, or there will also be changes in that respect? Thank you very much.
Pleasure. I think, Checkmore, you answer first. I'll take the certificate question, and Andre will take the terms of the 26th of March question. But over to you if this was your first installation.
Thank you very much. My first installation was for the IEC, just before the elections, local government elections, on the VSAT. But however, I've worked in telecommunications. I've been doing microwave, optical fibers, radio system, wireless network, and Wi-Fi, I've been in this field for more than 30 years now. I think my daughter was 2 years when I started this thing, and she's here now, and she's grown up. And yeah, I've been in this field for long. But as a technician, once you train, of course, we trained with QCon, and if you are versatile on those things, you are versed on telecommunications. The training was just enough. I just got one time, and the installation was perfect because I got the training. Remember, we wrote exam and everything. Once you follow what you have done in training, it's quite easy. And the meter, the SAT meter, this is yeah, this was a surprising thing. And I got a SAT meter an hour before the start of installation, and I never used that before. So I used the meter an hour after I received it. So I learned to use it within an hour on site. But however, if there are things you don't understand, I would like to comment on QCon. They are very helpful. You go online with them or on phone with them, and they will guide you definitely. Whatever you're missing, they will guide you. So yeah, that was my first installation, and I did one installation actually. The rest I'm doing, it's migration, and what I'm going to do tomorrow is reappointing, changing satellites. And the migration was changing the room in a satellite. But now I'm going to change the satellite itself. That means I'm going to reappoint the network somewhere. That's where the meter will come into use from tomorrow. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Checkmore. To follow through on that, in terms of QCon and training and the SAT meter, QCon have undertaken that they are going to do regular training with us. So we will be having very regular training sessions with QCon. The test isn't easy per se. It's a detailed, you really have to pay attention to Sean during the training session. What Checkmore has neglected to say is the SAT meter cost 2,500 Rand, and his first job, the net payment was 2,500 Rand. So Checkmore didn't take any income for his first job. The first job foresaw the payment of the VSAT, and I think it's quite a sacrifice to know you're not going to make an income, but you have gained a valuable tool that you cannot do VSAT installations without. So that you must bear that in mind. In terms of the supersonic certificates, they issued about 12 to us, but we are not correlating. For us, they haven't issued all the certificates for the people who've passed. Now, United Wireless were the service provider who were undertaken to do the supersonic training. At last week's meeting, we raised this very specific issue with them, saying we need to be prepared to roll out nationally, and we're not getting any training. We have begged and pleaded and bashed our heads against a brick wall for training, and they've now conceded that the people who are trained can become trainers, which is good news for us. But it also means that we can't ask somebody like Chucky to become a trainer tomorrow. We need to understand their module, get the paperwork. United Wireless must either hand over to Supersonic the training module, or we must get it direct from Supersonic. But we are going to be able to drive training through our trainers now, which is going to fast track this process a lot more quickly. And then we can liaise directly with Supersonic, read the certificates. The issue has been is that we speak because United Wireless did the training, we speak to Supersonic, who speaks to United Wireless, or we speak to United Wireless and we hear nothing back. So in the new year, we are going to be able to circumvent that issue that has been problematic. But Andre, perhaps you want to answer the third part of the question, read the terms that related to the 26th of March.
Yeah, so supersonic terms and conditions have changed a little bit. and I'm going through their latest master services agreement tomorrow. But essentially what it means is they want us as the contractors to take on logistics, warehousing, and insurance. That means we've had to readjust our whole business case and business plan, and that's where Nifricom come in and Ultranexus come in. And in the case of Nifricom, I've negotiated with them to help me with the warehousing and taking the equipment from Supersonic, and also assisting us with quite a bit of the insurance. That is going to cost 5% of the total amount. So as you know, there's a clip of 15% that MyTechie takes, and now there's a clip of 5% that we're going to have to sacrifice on behalf of logistics, warehousing, and insurance. It still leaves you with 80% of the fees, which, you know, if you are able to do 3 installations on a working day, Monday to Friday, you're going to get as a team easily 35,000-40,000 rand as a team because of the amount that's being paid, assuming certain consumables are within reason, and we believe they will be. And we're also working with various companies to see how we can reduce the cost of those brackets and other things to try and leverage that to just make your pass as much of the value down to the teams. But we'll give you a full communique about that. It's still a very, very viable project for you guys. And it will be one of our anchor tenure projects. I hope that answers your question.
I have a question, Mr. Hoffman. If you are getting 15%, MyTechie Corporation is getting 15% of 30,000, that's about 4,000 Rand a month. Can you guarantee you and Janine will be able to cover your bond and eat each month? Because we are concerned.
No, it's
we might need to crowdfund for our CEO, MyTechie's.
That's not the issue. The issue here is there's a longer term plan here, and there's a much longer term vision with a lot more scale to it. We're here to make a difference. That's what the hashtag MAD stands for. We're doing things very differently to normal contractors. You guys that have got the skills and are rolling your sleeves up and doing the work are getting the bulk of the money for good reason. We're here to support you, but the business case really only works when there's high volumes. And obviously the idea here is to take this platform global. So countries like Namibia have asked for it, Nigeria have asked for it. A number of countries want this particular platform. And the platform doesn't come cheap. I'm going to have to invest a lot more than what I've currently invested to build it into an international platform. But that's not your worry. We want to get it. We want it to work here, and we want to make a difference. We see it as doing that because jobs and people are getting retrenched all the time, and it's not acceptable. So we're going to do things a little differently, and we're going to unpack things and repackage them in a slightly different way. I'm working with a group of people called the Fair Work Project, which is helping to regulate this gig economy industry. We've looked at how the mistakes that Uber have made, the mistakes that Airbnb have made, particularly the difference we're trying to make is that we are trying to create almost as if you have a job. Because if you think about it, when you have a job, you've got medical, you've got pension, you've got leave, you've got sick leave, all of these benefits that you get with a job, you don't normally get in a gig economy. So we are trying to see how we can soften that blow. I've already talking to some people about a benevolent fund for technicians who may hit hard times at some point to have access to a fund. So all of these things are coming in the pipeline for those that want to participate, and based on the support of the network, they will benefit from it.
Thank you very much, Andre. I just want to, before we continue with questions, I just want to say, Andre had mentioned that we are sending you, the technicians, a newsletter. We're also sending all of our clients a very detailed letter thanking them, in particular people who've trained and given us opportunities to do projects and contracts. But we have said to our clients that we are not shutting down for the Christmas, New Year festive period. We are a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, 365-day business. we put out a message on the WhatsApp group saying, let us know. We understand a lot of people will be relocating, will be taking vacation, will be going on holiday. We completely understand, but we do need us, if you are, regardless of where you are, if you are available for work opportunities, I can't say we're going to get, but we even ran a poll on Twitter saying, are you aware that we are available 24/7? Do you think this is good, bad, or phenomenal? And a great number of people said, fantastic, we weren't aware. So from us, certainly in terms of the management of MyTechie, there is no shutdown. We will be continuing to work 24/7. But I would like to open the field before Andre just maybe touches on Mike Barker, who's joined us. Any questions for Andre, myself, or Checkmore whilst we're online? Any hands going up? No. Oh, yep. Silas, how's it? Please ask your question.
Oh, no, it's not a question. It's a round of applause for Checkmore. Because even the way he have put it, the statement, or it's like we were there on field with him. So like he touched so important things. So, and then it did open our eyes. And then it was for Checkmore, and then for Andre again, the money that they are taking, that 15 to 20, including the storeroom, it's reasonable, because for those that are doing the subcontracting, they know that other companies, they take 30, 35 to 40%. So we are still good with that 15 to 20%. I don't think it will hurt us.
So thanks, Silas, for that feedback. I understand the industry very well, and I can see how these guys are ripping you off. We are working very hard to even reduce. There are opportunities for you to improve that, because, like I said, if you use one of our approved interns, we take 3% less. If you are a member of the SAIE or the IETPC, we give you another % off. The reason for that is we want you to have the very best mentorship, access to the best continued professional development, access to support which you wouldn't otherwise get, and we incentivize that. So guys, take advantage of that. Let me introduce Mike to you if he's still online. Mike and I go back a number of years. We started as young engineers in KZN back in the 90s or 80s, I can't even remember. And we ran a few conferences, but Mike is very involved in green buildings and very involved in renewable energy, and he's going to be sharing some things with us next year, opportunities for us to get involved in microgrids, in energy, in our communities. So Mike, just say hello and give us a taste of what might be coming.
Yeah, thanks, Andre. Good evening to everybody. Hopefully everybody's safe and sound, and your families are likewise. I just want to show you something quickly and maybe give you some idea of things that are happening that might be of interest. Now, I understand that some of you could be electricians, and to tell you the truth, what I'm going to be showing you may well involve anybody. This is a sort of do-it-yourself approach to supplementing the energy. Some of you may be aware that Eskom are planning, or Eskom are applying for a 20% increase in the cost of energy for the next financial year, which is the middle of next year onwards. And thereafter, there may be further increases. So the cost of energy is something that weighs heavily on everybody's mind. Now, to be clear, I'm a consulting engineer. I'm not selling any equipment. But I've got a lot of organizations I belong to overseas, and we see people building out community microgrids, community energy systems. So I thought I just want to give you, and I know it's been a long day as well, so I'm going to show you a couple of slides quickly. The first thing I want you to do is to start thinking of the reticulation system in a home or in a building. And by that, I mean it's your plug points, it's the wiring, it's the DB board. All of that in the past used to be a cost center. You had to pay money to use energy flowing through that system. We need to start thinking of all that copper and plug points and DBs as a profit center. There's no reason at all why buildings can't start generating energy. So that's the first change that we're seeing in the world today. Suddenly people understand that you can make some profit if you put PV on your roof. The second step, and you're probably well aware, is a lot of people are now starting to look at batteries. And batteries really do change the way that you can make money. I'm not going to go into the details. We'll discuss that later. And sometime in the future, maybe 5 years time, and 5 years goes quickly, we're going to be seeing electric vehicles plugging into your house, into buildings, and downloading energy. I'll use the word download because I know many of you are from the IT side. Okay, so what are we going to discuss? I've got a little session going on Tuesday, and then we're going to be spending some time with you probably in the new year. But what I want to say to you is that there's so many ways that you can start up very small. Now, I keep hearing people saying these renewable systems, photovoltaics on the roof are for guys with lots of money. But there's many ways, and people around the world are doing this. There's many ways to install very simple systems, almost as a do-it-yourself approach. So in this particular case, if you have a look here, you can see there's some simple framework supporting a photovoltaic panel. They're normally 2 meters by about 1 meter, right? Very simple systems, and with the microinverter, you can see the microinverter sitting there. That's, if you can see my cursor, you turn the energy, the DC energy from a panel into AC, and you plug it straight into a plug point in your house and feed the energy in. You can do things like that. If you look at this next slide, you can see for people living in blocks of flats, you can attach one of these to your balcony at the right angle. Clearly, you have to face towards the sun. And you can see over here as well, there's many ways where you can install 1 or 2 panels and generate some useful energy and feed it back in. So what are we talking about? Let me show you the financial side of it. This is where I spend a lot of my time trying to understand how to make this work. For a little do-it-yourself project, you can get 4 Jinko 390 watt panels, okay? And you can get one of these microinverters and put that all together with a bit of cabling and a bit of mounting brackets and things. And you guys are doing satellite dishes. Mounting brackets are going to be easy for you. So spending about just under 20,000, you can generate energy for the next 20 years or so at 35 cents a kilowatt hour. Now you ask yourself, what are you paying at the moment, the pay as you go? Certainly a lot more than 35 cents. So all of a sudden you can start putting energy into your house at a pretty good price and supplementing. So these are the things I want to discuss with you. You're welcome to join us next Tuesday online, and we'll go through some of the details and show you how you can put together the simple systems. In fact, for about 8,000 Rand, you can get maybe 1-2 panels and a microinverter and start feeding some energy back into your house. This is the kind of hustle you can look at over weekends. You know, this is the sort of thing that you can do in your downtime, helping out your friends, your community, maybe turning it into a business. So Andre, thanks so much for the opportunity to talk to your team. And I wish you guys all the very best, and hopefully we'll be talking about this sort of thing next year. Clearly at the moment, I haven't discussed batteries, but including batteries, of course, changes the whole scene. But thanks again, Andre, back to you.
Thank you, Mike. I hope you guys can see your opportunities are getting bigger and bigger as we go into what we call opportunity density. Technicians, electricians, IoT, there's a huge amount of tech coming at us, and we all know the unreliability of power and the high cost of power. So we can offer our customers and our customers real viable solutions, not just broadband and not just spreading Wi-Fi around buildings, but also sustainable power and energy, and then offer them an opportunity to save money and possibly also generate money. So these are some of the things we are bringing to the party for next year. Thanks very much, Mike. Thanks to the team. I think we've run out of time, but
before we do, Andre, I'm just going to quickly cut you off before you say goodbye. Andre will conclude. Are there any questions before we conclude? We're on the hour. No. We just, Burbick, would you like to make any comments before we wrap up? You on mute, Burbik. Any comments?
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Yes, actually, I just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone for all their efforts throughout the year. The success of MyTechie is built on the effort of the techies. Thank you for the dedication, commitment that each of you has shown us. And we offer best wishes and happiness to you and your families as we all look forward to a successful year.
Thanks, Burbik. Puti, I see your hand is up. Would you like to ask a question?
Yes. Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Yes, I'm much more interested on the one of the saving the energy. I mean, the one of the installation. So it seems like it's a great one, and I would also like to participate on that meeting, which is next week, Tuesday. But I'm not quite sure the time is gonna be the very same time, which is 1800.
I will get the details, Puti. What I will do is I will get all the details from Andre and Mike, and I will put them out on the WhatsApp groups for everybody.
All right.
There'll be a follow-up on that next year, early next year.
Come again?
There'll be a follow-up. If you missed this one on Tuesday, there'll be another one in January.
Oh, all right. No, that's proper.
Awesome. And thanks for that.
Another question, Puti. Was there another question?
No. I'm covered, and thanks very much.
Thank you. All right.
Awesome. Before I hand over to Andre, I just want to thank the Techie team for being absolutely awesome. It wasn't the year we expected, but you have been beyond. You've gone over and above to be supportive, to be team players, to support one another, to give constructive criticism where need be, and to keep the lines of communication open. On a personal note, obviously the WhatsApp groups will be completely open. I want to wish everybody the most happy festive Christmas season. If anybody's traveling, please keep safe on the roads. Yes, COVID is a danger, but we know what happens on our roads. If you're going to drink, please drink at home and enjoy, have your celebrations at home. Don't take to the roads. But it's been a great honor and pleasure working with the most fantastic and awesome team over the last couple of months. But Andre, over to you to conclude.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, everybody. Burbik and Sharon have said it all. I'm not going to be safe over the festive season. Checkmore, thank you for your deliberations this evening. It's encouraging, I think, for everyone to know that Checkmore did the training about maybe a month before he did his first installation. And like he said, an hour before he had to use the sat meter. You know, if you've got the technical aptitude, these things are not that difficult. So that's what we're hoping to give you guys, this kind of opportunity. There's more of this coming in the new year. Thank you all very much. Be safe, wear those masks, and let's turn the lights on again next year. There's lots of things coming. Thank you all.
Night, everybody. We'll talk in the new year.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.